Hello, and welcome to the second ever stream here on YouTube. I thought it'd be more appropriate to do something on YouTube this time instead of on Twitch. Since I'm not coaching, I'm instead reacting to a video or two videos that League of Legends has recently put out on their League of Legends YouTube channel. A lot of my content is comparing League of Legends and Dota 2, and this time I thought it'd be really appropriate to compare what League of Legends is introducing this year at Season 1 with what Dota has recently introduced as well, and by recently I mean in the last maybe 2 years. I've always wanted to do videos in the same style that Nexus does. I won't be able to do it as well as Nexus, but I thought it'd be a good chance to give it a shot. We're going to start with the video released in November of last year. This is introducing some of the gameplay mechanics that League of Legends will be seeing this year in the Season 1 split. They're naming them kind of weird.
I'm Andre, also known as Medla.
And I'm Paul, also known as Pabro. We're back with the final dev update of 2024. Today is November 8th. We just wanted to give you a warning.
So here's the cool thing. League of Legends has these dev updates maybe once a month, and I think it's really, really neat. Dota 2 is explicitly opaque with who the devs are. It's cool to see that League of Legends has always been transparent about who's actually producing the game. They talk to their community, and I think a huge plus to the League of Legends team.
We'll be talking about arcane spoilers in our first section. So if you haven't finished the finale, skip to the time on the screen.
So we're doing that right now.
Over the years, we fleshed out the world and regions of Runeterra, as well as various alternate universes like Star Guardian, High Noon, or Darkstar.
So, cool thing about League of Legends, you have a world that's fleshed out. We have a map on this website. It's pretty neat. You can go to different regions, read about the lore. Dota's world is, nobody really knows. There's a couple of regions and a couple of cities named, but most of the stories are not connected. You know they're on the same planet, but we don't know what the size of the planet is. It's never named anywhere. Another big plus for League of Legends lore.
We've highlighted these worlds in moments like summer events or narrative drops around champion releases. Now we want to take that immersion further with our new seasons.
So next year, we're going to have 3 seasons, each around 8 patches long, where we're going to follow champions around different regions of Runeterra. Each one is going to have its own theme, but we're going to have an overarching narrative that connects them throughout 20. So
the 3 seasons narrative idea, I just want to mention, Dota had that just a moment ago. Let me just pull that up. In Dota, we don't have seasons in the same way that League does, except for one season. Dota usually has a fall or winter themed event thing every year. So it could be a winter map or a winter skin or fall different map skin, fall different little events. But this last year that is just finished, we had an amazing season or series called the Crownfall event. Crownfall started near the early mid of last year and progressed all the way into December. Every couple of months, we would get a new different Crownfall event or story. So if you go into here, we started down here at the start, and as we played Dota, we progressed through this labyrinth of a map, unlocking free skins and unlocking different, just like little bundles, mostly visuals, but also a lot of dialogue that was written. So each one of these nodes had dialogue for as the heroes are progressing. And we had Season 2 and Season 3. And I will be talking a lot more about these later in the videos. In Season 4, these were the, quote, seasons of Dota, but they're not really the same thing. It's not like in League of Legends where the map itself is getting an update. It's more of this meta story progression little labyrinth map that was getting updates.
And each season's theme will be the anchor for most of the content going into the game as well.
In the past, we've had these big releases like Swarm or Spirit of Hearthhome. They're
And what
super
happened to
memorable
those?
and fun, but they're also not connected to a larger integrated moment. And in seasons, we want everything to connect together.
I think that this is a massive weakness, actually, from the League of Legends team. Everything must be connected to the main game. Everything must be connected to the story. Why? Why not just have these game modes for fun so people can log into League of Legends to play Swarm or to play something else? Think about how Dota 2 does it. There's just a bunch of game modes, mini games and stuff that is just available for anybody to play. Some people download Dota 2 and they never play the actual game. They just play custom games. There's Tower Defense, there's Swarm or Vampire Survivors versions, and many, many other variants. Again, more about the arcade later when it comes up.
That means things like gameplay updates, modes, mini games, and champions will mainly have a strong tie to the season's theme.
We'll have a bunch of skins that celebrate that seasonal theme, but we'll also continue to invest in a wide variety of skin lines that are unrelated to the season as well.
So you can be like, oh no, we released a game mode that's not related to the skin, to the season. But skins are fine. We'll just release whatever skins.
Expect to see cosmetics celebrating Lunar Revel or things like bees.
Beyond the Noxian invasion of the map, we've also made some gameplay improvements and changes for next year.
First, it wouldn't be a new season without an overhaul to the item system.
So I want to go back just a
First,
bit. I thought they would show more about the map, but here, League of Legends is coming out with a map skin that's dedicated to Nexus, one of the regions on, I think it's Runeterra. So this map skin will be seasonal, and it's only going to be this one time for a couple months. And here's the thing. League of Legends for a long time has suffered from not having map skins. And now that they're introducing them, and they'll be coming out a lot more, I want to mention how Dota did it a lot sooner and a lot better. And take a look at everything, all of the different terrains that are available. We got divine terrain, a little bit of an overgrowth, seasonal terrain, summer, and I can just go into any of these and immediately reload my demo map to show this new skin off.
Beware the bite of frost.
So this is a summer themed skin. Everything is blooming. I do want to mention most of these skins were Battle Pass exclusives. Reef's Edge was probably my favorite. Weather effects, yeah. So Reef's Edge takes the entire Dota map and makes it underwater themed, where you got little bubbles, all of the trees are now seaweed, and my favorite thing is close to the center.
Link dagger.
So close to the center, the river has been replaced with this mesh, and you can see really deep into the map itself, and I think that that's really pretty. League of Legends, because this would be not canon, will probably never introduce interesting maps like this. But I think that the Nexus approach is a decent upgrade. Now, I have seen the Nexus map being reviewed by Necrit, and I gotta say, it's a little disappointing how little it's changed. They've basically taken the League of Legends Summoner map and they've made it orange. And they changed some of the terrain a little bit, but it's nowhere near as drastic as this. And probably it's because it's not a skin that you can choose. In Dota, all of these map skins are cosmetic, and every player can choose a different skin for their game. While in League of Legends, it's going to be a cosmetic enforced upon you, so they couldn't make many changes since they didn't want to make a bunch of players unhappy.
It wouldn't be a new season without an overhaul to the item system. Just kidding.
I like that he says just kidding, because for League of Legends, an overhaul to the item system is saying, whoa, we got mythic items. And honestly, the mythic items, good riddance. They were never a welcome addition. I disliked them so much. It is an artificial way to lock down specifically what builds players wanted to go into. If you buy one item, you're not allowed to buy any other items. League of Legends has a lot of those, but at least the mythics are gone.
But there are some Noxian-themed boot upgrades.
Now, I do want to talk very much about these boot upgrades when they're introduced a little bit in a moment.
But it's not as simple as picking them up from the shop. In fact, they come along with a new mechanic, Feats of Strength.
There are 3 objectives that your team can claim throughout the game. First Blood, First Tower, and first 3 epic jungle monsters. If your team is the first to complete 2 of these 3 objectives, so for example, First Blood and First Tower, your Tier 2 boots will transform into new versions with slightly better stats. You'll also get access to...
So, here's the thing. You have map objectives, which are First Blood, First Tower, and first 3 camps. Getting 2 out of 3 gives you this Test of Might bonus, which lets you upgrade boots, or gives you a small upgrade to your boots now, and lets you upgrade your boots later. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Feats of Might first. In League of Legends, there is an issue in snowballing. It is so difficult to fight from behind because there's almost no combat mechanics. There's some combat gold that's related to taking objectives, but that's kind of artificial. It's hard to take an objective if you're behind because you're behind. And there's no really that much farm options available. It's not like you can go jungling like in Dota. And because of all of this snowballing, many times if a team finds itself behind, they will forfeit the game at about 15 to 20 minutes. Basically, teammates can vote to forfeit to not have to play or get to play the rest of it. For League of Legends, this makes sense because it is so snowbally. Take Dota 2, for example. If you've ever watched Dota 2 pro games or even played some Dota, you'll know that you can have a terrible early game. But because the game is designed around the opportunities of comeback, for example, farming safe if the enemy aren't keeping up the pressure, using a smoke of deceit for ganks, killing Roshan, killing the Tormentors. There's a lot of comeback mechanics, ways for you to come back. Even the neutral tokens. Neutral tokens and neutral items are almost like a comeback mechanic because they are free power upgrades that correspond to the enemy's power upgrades. So you essentially, even though they're ahead, if you just boost everybody up at the same amount, they're percentage-wise less ahead than you. League of Legends is introducing the Feats of Strength Might thing, which is going to be another hurdle to have to overcome if you're behind. I have a prediction, the season's just about to start or has started today, but I predict that the forfeiting amount of games, the forfeited games, will increase substantially because people will say, oh, we lost the Test of Might. Therefore, we will always be behind in a stat gain from the opponent, regardless of how much we farm or how much we fight to go back. If you listen a little bit more,
powerful Nexus-themed boots, which you can purchase as a final upgrade.
By getting the Feats of Strength Might thing, you can upgrade your boots, which everybody's going to be buying boots, into better boots. But you can't buy the better boots unless you have this. So you're going to have an item slot, which almost everybody consumes this item slot to just be my movement option. And that item slot for you is now going to be an option with stats. I think this is going to snowball the game more than pretty much anything else League of Legends has seen pretty much ever. And I don't like it. Now, I want to compare these upgraded boots to what Dota has. So, everybody's Boots of Speed is a tier 1 boot. These Boots of Speed can be upgraded into 5 items. Usually, it's only 4 though. Phase Boots for movement speed and armor, and a little bit of damage. Power Treads is your Berserker's Greaves, damage, attack speed. And yes, I am buying multiple boots. Arcane Boots gives you and allies a source of mana regeneration. And Tranquil Boots gives you health regeneration out of combat. These are usually picked up by a support. I've purchased 4 boots, but 2 of these boots can already be upgraded directly, and the other 2 boots are upgraded by the 5th boot I haven't mentioned. So in Dota, the arcane boots can be upgraded into Guardian Greaves, ridiculously powerful buff that gives you an AoE heal and AoE mana boost and a self-cleanse. The Tranquil boots can be upgraded into Boots of Bearing, which gives your team Shirelius Battle Song or War Song. Though the phase boots and the power treads cannot be upgraded directly, most people will sell them in the late game for an item called Boots of Travel. This gives you unleashed teleport. So now, if I had creeps somewhere on the map, I can teleport to them using my Boots of Travel. So Dota 2, and by the way, the Boots of Travel can be upgraded as well. So Dota 2, for a very long time, has had Boots upgrade. But the Boots upgrades are extremely expensive. These Guardian Greaves, if I look in the shop, they cost 5,000 gold. The Berserker's Greaves costs 4,200 gold. So not the Berserkers, the Boots of Bearing. 4,200 gold. These are not cheap items, but they give you a way to upgrade your boots item slot into something more powerful if you want it to be. League of Legends is stealing or copying the upgrading the boots mechanic without getting the idea of why Dota 2 has the upgraded boots mechanic. These are not just, hey, I have my items filled, I might as well upgrade my boots, like what will happen in League of Legends. No, these are conscious first or second item power spikes. You buy this as a full item, and it also happens to be boots. League of Legends is adding them in the most unfortunate way. It's going to be a power spike you can only gain if you're already ahead. That's the definition of snowball mechanics.
We want feats of strength to celebrate
Feats of
early game
strength.
successes without immediately snowballing the game out of control. We're experimenting.
See, that's the thing. It's without immediately snowballing the early game. Guys, you're going to be snowballing the early game at 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes. That's still snowball. You got 20 more minutes of game time. But now you don't because you only have 5 minutes until people in the losing team forfeit, since they can no longer ever hope to earn those tier 3 boots. And it's just unfortunate. I wish the tier 3 boots were available for everybody. You have to be ahead in gold to afford them anyway, so why is that the barrier?
With different types of power progression to see how it feels for a reward in the early game to open up more choices in the late game.
We're also introducing Nexus turret respawning. An incredibly frustrating experience is just winning a late game teamfight only to lose your Nexus turrets. You kept the game alive, but at what cost? Now it feels like your team is doomed to hang around in your base for another 200 years, babysitting an open Nexus. To give your team a better chance at coming back from these
That's not
situations,
gonna happen.
your Nexus turrets will now respawn after a set time once they're destroyed. Now, your team can rally for an epic comeback without having to worry about a backdoor cast-in.
I want to mention that these respawning turrets are a band-aid solution to something that seems a lot more simple to solve in a different way. You also have the 2 Nexus turrets. We just call them tier 4 towers. And the tier 4 towers are defending the Ancient. What you might notice is the tier 4 towers have 2,600 health with 20 armor. The Ancient has 4,500 health with 23 armor. So the Ancient is about twice as tanky as these tier 4 towers. And the tier 4 towers in Dota are a lot tankier than what you might see in League of Legends. The way that Dota has it so that you don't get super frustrated losing your base towers but maybe protecting the Ancient is the Ancient is a very tanky building that heals very quickly. It's very common, yes, for you in Dota to lose your towers, lose the team, then lose the Ancient. But the Ancient dies over the course of your respawn timer, not immediately. How many times have you played League of Legends? You go kill the Nexus, you kill the 2 Nexus towers, and then you just instantly evaporate the Nexus. I don't mean kill it, I mean it just blows up. It's made of paper. The towers themselves are made of paper. In the late game, how is respawning Nexus turrets going to help if your Nexus has half of the survivability of the towers? In Dota, it's twice the survivability of the towers. So if you lose the towers and you push the enemy back, your Ancient itself can survive backdooring for quite some time so your team can respond by a recall. I think that the respawning towers, they mention this is because if you've defended your Nexus, you shouldn't have to feel like you have lost because you have to defend it forever. But that's the problem. You're not going to defend the Nexus, you defend the Nexus towers. I don't care if the towers respawn if the Nexus immediately explodes afterwards. It's not solving higher defense games. It's not letting you defend the Nexus for a longer time in a losing fight, because you're going to just immediately lose that fight. I don't care if the towers respawn. I saw some people talk about how controversial the Nexus towers respawning happens. I want to ask any of my viewers that might be watching this now or later on YouTube, if you've been playing League of Legends, how many games end without a single tower ever respawning? And I'm not talking about Azir towers. If you have 1 in 20 games with a tower respawns, does that respawning tower make any difference? I want to bet it doesn't happen. I want to bet in 100 games, you won't see any effect of the respawning towers. So it's just what did Americans call it? A nothing burgers. It's giving a new mechanic where the old mechanic is still broken and it's still the old mechanic that is dominating the loss. The old mechanic being the Nexus is made of paper. Make it a little bit tankier, please.
Bloodletter's Curse reduces the target's magic resistance from repeated spell hits, which is sort of like an AP version of Black Cleaver.
We don't have armor penetration or magic defense penetration in Dota 2. It's just reductions. It's because Dota 2 is designed more around being a team game, so when you reduce somebody's defenses, it's meant for your allies to benefit, not just from you.
Finally, let's dig into the biggest update of the season, Adakon, Bringer of Ruin. The new epic jungle monster is drawn to death and destruction. He will spawn only once at 20 minutes on either the top or bottom side of the map, whichever side has seen the most champion damage and kills by 14 minutes. To signal where he'll make his entrance, Adakon's arena will spawn, adding new permanent walls to that side of the map. Adakon's dark influence will also cause blood roses to grow periodically in the areas where champions have been killed. More death means more roses. Blood roses drop bloody petals for your entire team.
Listen to this.
Stack any number of times and last through the entire game. For each petal collected, your whole team gains a small experience and power boost. So if you see one, grab it.
So you collect a petal that spawns around the many new objectives that give your team experience. Well, in Dota, let's see if I can spawn it here intentionally. It's not spawning for me now, but there is a there's no wisdom rune that can spawn here. You pick up the wisdom rune, you and an ally gain bone experience globally. Where does it spawn? Right next to the new objective location. Very similar in how League of Legends has these new petals spawning close to action around Adakon, including Adakon themselves will spawn the new petals, which give wisdom or experience.
Adakon has two forms, Ruinous and Voracious. Higher action games spawn Ruinous Adakon, who you might want to fight up close and personal to avoid his constricting rings of damage, which creates the perfect chance for an ace and a steal. Killing Ruinous Adakon grants bloody petals to the team who kills him and spawns a grove of blood roses in the area for anyone to collect.
So, killing Adakon gives your team a power bonus because of the blood roses, experience bonus, and it's basically a DPS check because it does a lot of damage and it's not that tanky. Now that we have the Tormentor alive, the Tormentor is a team objective that grants experience later, but mostly in the form of gold, a power bonus in the form of an Aghanim's Shard, which I'm gonna give myself levels.
Deep as forest shade.
And it's a DPS check. If I have the stats, I can kill it on my own.
I'll take that.
There we go. And I just gained some golden experience. How about that? Next to it spawns the Wisdom Rune, which acts very similar to the new Blood Petal Rose thingy majigs.
Voracious Otacon spawns in lower action games. He does less damage to his enemies, but as his name implies, is hungrier.
Voracious Otacon, I feel, is going to be a bit annoying.
The team who takes down Voracious Otacon gets a one-time rebirth buff, similar to Guardian Angel.
So, you have a tanky, lower DPS boss that drops a buff granting Guardian Angel. Where have I heard about that one before? Baron was a copy of Roshan a long time ago, but now Baron does a lot more different mechanics and different stuff than Roshan. Instead, Roshan is closer to the edges of the map, similar to where Otacon is. So, you would play here, Otacon would spawn here, but Roshan spawns here. You kill Roshan, guess what he's dropping? Aegis of the Immortal. This is Guardian Angel. So, you kill a Roshan, he drops Guardian Angel. You kill a Voracious Otacon, who's a tankier, lower DPS type of mini-boss, gives you Guardian Angel.
We're introducing Otacon for a couple of reasons. First,
Oh, I wonder if the buff that grants you Guardian Angel, I haven't played it yet, does the buff have a maximum time limit, like Aegis? Because when you pick up Aegis, it has a maximum of time limit, after which the Aegis just disappears without having been consumed. Does the buff from Otacon also have a maximum time limit that disappears if you don't consume it? If it does, that's just another very similar thing.
unless you're T1, a 20-minute Baron is pretty tough to get.
Jeez.
So we're moving Baron's spawn back to 25 minutes and providing another mid-game macro option in the form of Otacon.
I don't like this. So what they're saying is that Baron, because nobody goes for it before 20-25 minutes, they're pushing its spawn timer later and later. In Dota, it's true. Almost no team goes for Roshan before the 25-minute mark. That doesn't mean Roshan's not there. Roshan spawns at the game start, because if you draft the right team, you can kill it in the first 10 minutes. If you draft a mid-Templar Assassin or anybody with armor reduction or summons, you can kill it by 15 or 20 minutes. Having Roshan available throughout the entire match opens up different drafting opportunities, different drafting strategies for teams that want to kill Roshan early. I feel like in League of Legends, they're saying, because most don't, we will limit it so none do. It's another one of those things, like League of Legends tells you how to play, it doesn't give you the flexibility to experiment on your own.
Our goal is for every gameplay change to make League better. As we move to seasons, this remains the same, so these changes were designed for the long term.
It's strange to even have to mention that. Like, what changes are you putting into the game that is supposed to be short term?
That said, we'll keep an eye on how they're landing and make adjustments if needed. But for now, Otacon and all the other updates are here to stay for good.
There will always be a battle pass active.
I think this is ironic or kind of funny. As some of you might know, For the better or the worse, Dota 2 invented battle passes. I have it pulled up here. In 2013, we had our very first battle pass called the 2013 Interactive Compendium. You buy this compendium and you can put like money into it, but also by playing, you progress the compendium and you get a bunch of unlocks. These are couriers, visual aesthetics, compendium taunt pack, fantasy team stuff. This is the very first battle pass of all video games. So it was pretty limited. Over the years, Dota introduced more and more things into the battle pass to where battle passes became like a massive event. A battle pass dropped. Everybody starts pouring money into it, getting a lot of limited time cosmetics. Over the last couple of years, Dota 2 has moved away from the battle pass idea. The reasoning being that it was too much of a focus on the battle pass and not that much focus on what's going on around it, the actual competitive Dota scene. League of Legends is releasing battle passes just willy-nilly, but there's also one probably around Worlds, right? It's funny to think that in League of Legends now there will always be a battle pass active, while Dota 2, the inventors of battle pass, have moved away from the idea. It's a show of what's more important for the different companies. Riot might value the money from battle pass, while Dota, moving away from battle pass, was able to release something way better. The Crownfall event, which I showed you earlier, this one here with all of the different acts, this was released instead of battle pass. All of this content, different dialogue, trees, you get to talk, like, it's just a little animated dialogue. I think it's kind of cute. Cosmetics that can be unlocked at every single node. This was all added instead of battle pass, and there are 4 of these. This is just the last one. This is the first one here.
Both a free and a paid track, with the price the same as an event pass today. You'll get pass rewards through the tracks, meaning we're removing the event tokens and shop.
There will be 2 passes per season.
Basically the same thing.
Tying into each season's thematic.
So 3 seasons, 2 battle passes per season. That's 6 different battle passes per year. 6 of them?
That means most of the rewards will reflect what's going on in and around the game.
That's just
fewer
wild.
random rewards. We'll have the same number of passes per year at 6, with a longer average duration per pass.
We're also moving...
You can earn 12 skins per year with the free pass. Half of these skins will be themed to the season you unlock them in. We'll also be simplifying the loot and crafting system. Orbs will always be available, so Masterwork chests...
So look at this. They're spending 3 minutes to talk about the cosmetics, the battle passes, the unlocks, and the skins.
Rewards. If you choose to buy the paid version, we also want it to be very clear what you're getting and how to make the most of it.
Ranked resets. These have been a topic of a lot of conversation in recent years.
What do you guys think of ranked resets? So, in League of Legends, there used to be multiple rank resets per year. But as they're about to talk about...
just got stomped by the Radiant.
As they're about to talk about this, the ranked resets will be changed in League of Legends to being just 1 per year that has already happened. In Dota, there are no ranked resets. There used to be 1 or 2 per year, but now there are none. Instead, any player can go to their settings, I think it's under account, and click a button that resets your rank. So ranked resets in Dota are an optional thing. Hey, I think I want a ranked reset. I can click it, reset my rank completely, start it from scratch, and see where I get.
Next up, we want to chat about a potential replacement for quick play that we'll be trying.
You guys want to see another thing that League stole?
Swift play, and it's meant to be a lower stakes experience than Summoner's Rift, though with more strategic elements than you'd find in, for example, ARAM. You'll still have the same core elements that you'd expect to find in a game of Summoner's Rift. You know, farming, snowballing, team fighting for objectives, etc. But with added changes to keep all players more competitive, like ramping gold and XP as the game goes on.
ramping gold and EXP as the game goes on. They're adding Swift Play, a game mode with more gold and experience, but similar to the standard. Where have I seen that one before? Check this out. Turbo, a shorter version of Alpic with increased gold and experience, weaker towers, and streamlined couriers. Guys, they're adding Turbo into League of Legends. Dota's had Turbo since Dota 1. It used to be called Easy Mode. Then they renamed it in Dota 2 to Turbo. And after 20 years, League of Legends is finally coming up with it, and they're going to call it Swift Play. I think that's so interesting that it took them this long to figure out, hey, wait a minute, Dota did this cool thing. Let's just do it too.
Those changes won't make it so you can suddenly jump ahead of your opponent if you're 0 and 10.
Yeah,
but they
they're
will
just
make it so that even
describing
if you're down,
Dota
you're not
Turbo mode.
completely out of the game.
The fact that Swift Play is also less punishing when behind should also make the mode ideal for those of you looking to play with friends you wouldn't be willing to put your LP on the line for. As mentioned, Swift Play will be rolling out in January to replace Quick Play in select regions, so we hope you'll give it a try and let us know what you think when it hits live.
So here's the thing. I think that Swift Play should be added to League of Legends. I do not think that Quick Play should be removed. League of Legends is already balanced around having people be able to one-trick pony different champions. It's rare that what you're one-trick ponying matters that much to the major way that your team actually drafts. You're not going to be as hard counter does in Dota, and you're not going to be as hard a counter to others or synergize with your team as in Dota. Where in Dota, quick play will never make sense because drafting is such a vital part of the actual gameplay experience. In League of Legends, where drafting is really not that important for most players, I think that quick play should remain as an option to just get into a game and have some more fun with the specific champions you've chosen.
We also have a blog dropping today with more details, so be sure to check that out. And last, but hopefully not least, we've got some changes coming to the practice tool. Over the years, you've told us that it's a useful but somewhat limited way to get better.
Somewhat limited? Somewhat limited. You know, this whole time I've been showing stuff over here, I haven't left the practice tool. I'm still 40 minutes in. Most of that is AFK. I'm in the practice tool right now. And I can spawn allies, enemies, give anyone different... Like, what hero do I want? I want a Necrophos with a Clairvoyant Cure on the enemy team. Let's do All Vision. I can give them levels. I can even level somebody to max. I'm going to make this enemy invulnerable so I can test my DPS against them. I can control just about any hero or on my team or the enemy team. I can spawn whatever I want. Let's see here. So boom! I made myself a creep. Dota's demo mode or practice tool is what I've been using to make my YouTube videos for the last year or two. It is exceptionally good. It is not perfect, but it is very, very high tier. To say that League of Legends has some practice tool that needs work is such an understatement, it's insane.
League. The most common desire we've seen people bring up is to practice with other players, whether...
No, the most common desire is to practice with multiple champions that are not played by bots. To be able to practice with other players is because League of Legends their players don't understand there exists a practice tool where you can have whatever heroes on whatever teams and you can control them and force them to do whatever you want. In League of Legends, it feels like, oh, but I want to practice my champion against this other champion when they're moving. I need it to be multiplayer. I think it's addressing the problem in a roundabout way. And they are adding multiplayer, as they're about to say.
One-on-one duels with a friend or on a full teamfight drill with a pre-made team.
Practice Tool wasn't built with multiplayer.
So, Practice Tool wasn't built for multiplayer.
About how League could
Demo mode in Dota is not built for multiplayer. I wish that demo mode had multiplayer. That'd be so cool. But here's the thing. League of Legends is coming out with multiplayer Practice Tool before Dota has a multiplayer demo mode. This is something that League of Legends is beating us on, and I would consider it a big win for the game. Where League succeeds on its own, I do want to compliment it.
if the optimal way to get better is to spend almost all your time in Practice Tool rather than playing real games. But we do think we've likely been too cautious here. So we're going to be giving multiplayer Practice Tool a try.
One last seasons thing. We'll be changing up how we name patches to match seasons. So instead of patch 15.1 coming out in January, it'll be patch 25.s1.1, calling out the year, season, and patch number. Season 2 will then kick off in patch...
What is it? 25.1.s... What are you doing? Why are you naming these as if we're game developers? We're not. Name them something normal. I like the naming conventions so far. Take a look at what Dota does. By the way, without leaving the tool, it's still running. You can go out here. Check this out. I can view every patch. Should be able to see it above my head. That has come out for the last many, many years. All of the patches have the same naming convention, but since 7.0. The patch convention in Dota is a number patch, like 7.17. This is a number patch, no letters attached. These are big gameplay changes. And then the letter patches are balance changes around the gameplay changes. Nobody has cared about this not corresponding to the year or to the season or anything else. We just care what patch of the game we're playing on. And of course I can click on any of these to read what it is. And they're all giant, by the way. Take a look. It's 7.34. Just one more balance patch in a list of 100 balance patches. So League of Legends renaming their patches seems like, why? Like, I don't know. Convoluted.
5.s2.1. You get the idea.
Okay, that is it from us today.
Okay, that's for the first video, but another one just came out today.
We'll have 3 uniquely themed seasons each year that will immerse you in moments and journeys throughout Runeterra and our alternate universes. And for our first season, we're heading to my personal favorite region of Runeterra. Welcome to Nexus.
Now tomorrow when you log on to Summoner's Rift, it'll look a bit different.
Things getting serious.
As a brief recap from our last dev update, here's a refresher. Yesterday we saw Mal continue her journey after Arcane and arrive on the shores of Nexus, where her ambition will be tested among the great houses.
And along with the new look, she'll also be bringing a new type of gameplay that we haven't had in League before, projectile reflection. The game team and the Arcane teams work together to figure out how Mel's power should be shown in both game and show, with game inspiring show and vice versa. You'll see her full kit tomorrow, but we want to dive into one of her abilities, Rebuttal.
Now, this spell reflects projectiles back against their source. So if Yasuo, Braum, or Samira could block it, Mal can reflect it. Targeted spells like Veigar's ultimate will target their original caster. Non-targeted abilities like Lux Binding or Nami Bubble are also shot back in their direction.
For everybody that's like, oh no, my targeted spells, whatever shall I do? May I introduce to you, Anti-Mage. And now it's reflected. In League of Legends, there are far more projectile abilities than in Dota. So I feel like Leagues might be more powerful. This is nothing new for Dota, but it's something League of Legends is copying directly from Dota 2. I don't think League would have something like this if Dota didn't have it first. Another thing that I want to mention is League of Legends. I wish I could have the full champion available, but League of Legends is probably going to have a much longer cooldown. Counterspell for for anti-mage has a 3-second cooldown. Once every 3 seconds, you can spam the hell out of this thing, even without free spells. I click it, for 1.5 seconds I'm invincible, and then I click it again, and then I click it again, and basically it's got 50% uptime, where the enemies have to time their spells properly to even hit me. I don't think that Mel will be able to reflect spells on a 3-second cooldown. So I don't think you should be afraid. If you're thinking that Mel's ability is going to be overpowered, remember, Dota's had this for years, and it's okay. You guys will be fine. Dota's been fine too. So, here's an interesting thing. In Dota, reflected spells are coded as follows. The spell is hitting you. When you reflect it, you negate the original spell, and you cast the same spell back. So the new spell you cast is considering you as the caster, so it benefits from if you have things like damage bonuses on abilities, magic bonus, stuff like that. Basically, AP stats for for Dota 2. I don't know how it'll be coded in League of Legends. Sylas can cast the ultimate of his enemies, but the way it's coded in League of Legends is he doesn't directly cast it. He creates an illusion, a clone. That Sylas clone casts the new ability, because Sylas is unable to cast other abilities. They tried it that way, and it just broke the game. In Dota, reflected spells consider you the caster because all spells are programmed modular. You actually have a game mode in Dota called Ability Draft. In it, you start the game not by picking your hero, but picking all of your abilities. So you get to play with a mosh pit of random abilities from across the match, and it's really cool. League of Legends is just not made with modular spells. So this reflected spell, I really want to know how it works underneath the hood. Is it considering Mel as the caster? Is it just, like, what's going on to reflect it? I feel like there's got to be some mechanic there that's brand new, and I'm excited to see it.
In game. Additionally, if you want to learn more about her family backstory in depth, make sure you check out the novel Ambessa, Chosen of the Wolf, when it releases in February. To celebrate the launch of the season of Nexus, Mel will be unlockable for free as one of the seasonal missions.
Yeah, I'm not getting her then. You have to play the game to unlock this champion. Look at how smug he is. Oh, this champion will be free. For a Dota player like me, every hero that has ever released is free. Kez got released about a month ago. Yep, immediately free. You don't have to unlock him. You don't have to spend any in-game currency. Not even, like, blue essence in League of Legends can be earned by just playing. And a lot of people argue, well, all the champions are free because if you play a lot, you get the champions. What if you don't play a lot? What if you're casual like me? Or what if you're someone that watches my content as a Dota player interested to learn more about League of Legends? If you're a Dota player, you go into League of Legends, I'm going to spoil it right now. You have 10 heroes out of 170. You can play 10 of them. Congratulations. That's so stupid. In Dota, every hero can be played. Every hero you can demo immediately. So let's say I just choose Queen of Pain, return to demo, boom, I'm Queen of Pain. Oh, I don't like what skin I have for her? Change the loadout? I can select any skin, any purchasable skin, any unknown skin, any skin that I've ever considered buying. Let's say I really wanted to get this one, but I don't have it. I don't have this skin. I can still demo it. I can take a look at it from different perspectives. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Whatever skin I choose. I don't know why League of Legends is so limited. You can't demo the skins. There are YouTube channels that are made around showcasing the skins so you can see what they look like before having to buy them. Why is this something a passionate YouTube creator has to make? Why can't it just be in the client? The hurdles League of Legends players have to jump through to enjoy their game. When League players come to me after having tried out Dota and they tell me, man, I didn't know what I was missing out. You guys have a client that works. You have so many player-friendly mechanics and player-friendly features in the game and in the client. Like, League players, I urge you to try different games. Doesn't have to be Dota, but you guys are suffering and you don't know it. It's like if you only see in grayscale, you think the world's fine until you can see color.
We were really excited by the reception to Spirit of Hearthhome last.
Check this out. Comics. Another thing League of Legends is stealing from Dota. Where have we seen comics? We've seen Dota's comics for a decade. Most recently, there was a comic for the New Year. It's right here. It's not really a motion comic, but it's a storybook that's written like a comic. Look at this. I'll just skip ahead to show you some of the other pages. Now, that's just the most recent one. Every single act, so 4 times in the last year, we've had everything from full-on comics. Let me just, next.
Ain't seen this many trees in a long time.
View comic. So, these are the comics that we get in Dota. And these come pretty comfortably over time. Just, I was at the last page because I'd read it. So you just go through and you can read about the lore of what's happening right now, quote unquote, in the game as the game is following the story of Skywrath Mage and Vengeful Spirit. And look at these. I think this is really beautifully drawn comic book stuff. As a fun note, the very first comic that we had in Dota was all about Axe. So it's funny to see Axe as the leading role in this comic as well. And they're really funny. I've read them all. Great stuff. Like this guy's saying how he likes this one poem from his tribe, but it's the only poem that the tribe has ever made. Like this is the only poet because the tribe is entirely gangsters and murderers. This is cool. And you get, listen to this, you get a comic at the start and a comic at the end of every act. 4 acts.
In Season 1, one of the ways that we'll do that is with a new genre of minigame that will debut in Act 2.
We also want to confirm something.
A new genre of minigame that debuts in Act 2. Where have I heard this before? League of Legends. Guys, stop stealing our ideas. Look at this. Crownfall, Act 1, minigames. This one is a fishing minigame. I'm just going to show it off real quick. So we can catch fish. This is a terrible lure. I'm going to reset. Fish. You throw it, wait for a fish to catch. Can you guys see this? Oh yeah, you can, okay. So this is just the most simple little mini game that is part of the season progression, you can say, for Dota. This one's just Flappy Bird. You click your mouse. I suck. Play. Let's see. It's just nothing crazy. Flappy Bird that was introduced. What came next?
Untold miles to reclaim his title as the world's most renowned brawler. Bristleback versus Dawnbreaker. Round 1.
And you just have like this. I don't know what are the hold on. I don't know what the words are. Okay, this is attack 1. There we go. This is a... Got it. In this multiplayer, I can choose. Look at this. I can go in here. I can challenge any of my online friends. After that, we got Nest of Thorns, which is what you and League of Legends players would call Swarm mode. Pick whatever I want, some upgrades, and just play Swarm. Level up, you get your different abilities. I'm going to get Chain Frost. And these are just abilities from Dota that will auto-cast. Very simple. Vampire Survivors, Swarm mode, whatever you want to call it. Now, to be fair, this was added in Dota after Swarm mode for League of Legends. So in this one instance, Dota is copying League of Legends. The reason I say that overall League of Legends will be copying Dota is because if you listen, we're just going to go back to the video.
Those in-game and out-of-game experiences. In Season 1, one of the ways that we'll do that is with a new genre of minigame that will debut in Act 2.
Minigames that are debuting in acts of a season. Exactly like the Crownfall acts debuted minigames in Dota 2's season.
We also want to confirm something that you probably saw in yesterday's cinematic, specifically around LeBlanc. She's a beloved, iconic champion in League, but she's in need of some modernization. One of our goals is to tie champions and champion updates to seasons, so we felt that a season focused on Nexus would be the perfect time to give LeBlanc a visual update.
Dota has had visual updates for outdated heroes before. Recently, though, they've slowed down, and I kind of miss it. I think there's a lot of heroes in Dota that still need visual updates. League of Legends has more visual updates, but they advertise them more as well. Dota's visual updates is just like, one day you log in, oh, hey, my hero got a visual update. That's kind of cool. 4 minutes talking about cosmetics.
One of the biggest changes we have coming this season is the full Fearless draft in Split 1.
We want Fearless to bump up the competition to a new level by banning champions picked in previous games within a best-of series.
To make it so that there's more champions picked, they're making it so that every champion picked in your game, if you're playing pro, will be banned in the next game, and then also banned in the game after. This is because League of Legends has been stuck on 5 bans per team for, what, a decade now? There's 170 champions. 5 bans per team is not enough. So in League of Legends esports, you see a lot of extremely repetitive lineups. I have been watching League of Legends pro scene for the past couple of years, and I have to tell you, you see 20 champions, and then sometimes a flex extra 20, which means out of 170 champions, 40 or 50 are competitively viable. In Dota, there's only about 130 heroes, a bit less than that, and all except for maybe 15 or 20 are competitively viable. So on average, you'll see 100 plus heroes in every single major Dota tournament, with only 50 champions sometimes in League. They're trying to fix this by making it so that when you pick champions, you can't pick them again. I have talked to some of the devs because they stream on Twitch. I've mentioned this and they've heard me out. I've told them League of Legends needs 7 bans per team. 7 per team, not 5. And instead of doing 7 bans per team, they say, okay, we're just going to ban everything that you've played. Guys, this is not the approach. How are you going to have a competitive scene where people can't play their best heroes, not because the opponent banned them, but because they've already played their best heroes? Just make it 7 bans per team and you'll be good. It's 8 bans per team and you'll be good. It's just insane. I am excited to see how the game plays, but I feel like this is going to hit a lot of pros where it hurts. And watching the pro scene might not be the same.
This change will force teams to adapt and bring out their full champion pools.
That means if you see like a Renekton and a Cassante matchup in Game 1, you won't see it for the rest of the series. This will test teams' creativity, their adaptability, and shake up the meta across the board.
Not only will we see Fearless Draft in every region in Split 1, but it will also be utilized at our new international event.
The first stand tournament will take place from March 10th to March 16th.
First stand instead of last stand.
Our goal
They could have called it First Strike, which is a rune in the game and is also a common term. But they didn't call it First Strike, they call it First Stand. Pausing it here for something important in comparison to League and Dota. In League of Legends, for the highest tier tournaments, you have something called a buy-in. Essentially, there are slots for the tournament that are available for teams to purchase. Your team's org can purchase a slot. Then your team can go to the tournament. Or you can sell your slot to another team, which is what sometimes happens. How is this merit-based team competitions? Think about how it works in Dota. In Dota, for Dota's worlds called the International, there are regional qualifiers. Any team that has a team logo and name can qualify. If I go or can compete. If I go over here, pro info and teams. Take a look at this. My pro info, my name is Tsar Potato. My team is this is my friend's clan, Dota lag party, because we lag a lot and we play Dota. Anybody that has this, I myself included, if you're good enough at the game, can compete in regional qualifiers, having earned points through something called the Battle Cup. So every week you can participate in Battle Cup. And now Battle Cup isn't really much of a thing, but you could do it before. You qualify for the regional qualifiers. Basically, you just attend, you make sure you have a team. And if you do really well in the regional qualifiers, you can go to TI and go to the qualifiers, which is group stage basically there. League of Legends has it that your team, your org has to buy these slots, which are very expensive, I think, just so your team can play. And I think that Dota's method of just being merit-based is a lot better.
Okay, what else have we got?
Next, modes. As we move into seasons, we want to make sure that there's always a variety of gameplay available. So, starting with the next patch, there will always be another game mode available to play in addition to Summoner's Rift and ARAM.
So all random Earth will be turning on next patch and will be available throughout Act 1 of the season.
Game modes will be available throughout, at least one. Dota, let's go to the arcade. Let's take a look at the comment. Most popular, just this week. Everything you see here, every different named game is a game mode, which is not a mini game. These are, you can go in there. There is matchmaking. You can jump into any hosted lobby and play it. There are 50 of the most popular, 50 pages of this thing. Every single one is a different game. Warlock Brawl is pretty fun, as it tells you when it's been last updated, about half a year ago, so it might be a little bit broken. But this one, you're basically playing on a crumbling arena where everybody is spellcasters and you're slinging spells to try and destroy the arena or push people off of the arena. Again, this is all my lobby list. Look at this. This is the current lobbies that are open, that if I wanted to, I could just play any of them. I only play one right now with my friends. I used to have a bunch installed, but I uninstalled them to free up space. Active games. League of Legends has such potential of including custom games made by passionate players. such an opportunity that they're missing out by not allowing the creative community to publish their own games to their client. Valve doesn't even need to make that many games. Sometimes they make an Aghanims game, and then at the end of the Aghanims, they made this game. At the end of their development cycle, they published it, and it was fun. People played it for 2 or 3 months, and then they said, okay, here's the source code. We're not going to develop this game any further. And it has been in development since. These are all community-driven, and some of them were made by Valve, released, and updated by the community so Valve can focus on making more stuff. Valve will create the game, release all the code, players will update the game. Valve doesn't have to worry about updating it.
Additionally, on all arena maps, we're also introducing a system called Guests of Honor, where you can vote on which famous Noxian you'd like to alter the rules of each game.
They're saying, for one of our custom games you will have access to for only 3 months, we're introducing this new mechanic. Bro, just give us the custom games permanently. Just release them. Just have them available. And if they break, whatever. Nobody will play them. It's not your job to update them constantly.
So, that's the start of Season 1.